My young brothers, do not grab these blue-eyed girls of you. They're doing this today to get you away from the God of your salvation. The girl has been taught a long time. So when this day comes, that she will sweetheart with you, and she will blind you into the knowledge of the time, so that you won't recognize what she's doing. She will make you think that we just now realize that we have to live as one people, and you, yet blind, you will say, yes, that's right. But no, understand what you mean. That the time have arrived now that I will make you to think that I'm in love with you. I will marry you. You will marry me. But you are headed for hell. I will try to entice you, work on the very nature of you. I will go nude in front of you. Think over that. He gives them the woman corrupting themselves. That's here in your Bible. My beloved brothers, I say, flee from her. She is a universal devourer. That's what that was put here in your Bible for. See how Delilah deceived Samson, the strongest man. You are yet the strongest man. You are yet the wisest man, but no one have brought you back to the wise wisdom of yourself and the strength that it will do and produce others to succumb at your feet.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, Africa.
Hello and welcome to Africa Watch on the Dr. Mumbi Show. My name is Dr. Mumbi Saraki. How you doing? How's everything going? I pray you're well in all your ways. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for all the donations that you give through PayPal. And thank you so much for being part of our Patreon family. Consider joining all of those. So much happening. We've been able to expand our programming and so many things are on the horizon. So we're really, really grateful for that. Now, there's a story that was sent to me a couple of weeks ago. This has been making news for years, but it seems to make news in waves. Like, it will come to the forefront, everyone will discuss it, everyone will be outraged, and then it will disappear, and then it will come back. And what I'm talking about is the white supremacist female, or the Caucasian woman sex tourism in Africa, where an increasing percentage of single, middle-aged and elderly women from Europe primarily, and also the United States, are actually making sex trips to Africa to have sex with young men in different coastal paradises. And, they'll stay for about a month. And in return, while they may not pay directly for the service, they end up, they give the man becomes this Casanova and fills this role. And to fill this role, they'll buy him clothes, they'll buy him food, they'll dress him up, and some say they'll even, give him a little something for his family to kind of improve his livelihood. But this is actually absolutely sickening, and it's a problem because it's really, really, really affecting our nations. Now, there's so much I can say about what this does spiritually to a nation and to our young people, when all their men are used to that quick money and actually are lured into sexual prostitution to survive, because there's no jobs from government. A country like Kenya has almost 70% unemployment, and crazily high unemployment rates across the African continent. And so you can kind of understand why men do this, but this has so many implications, physically, emotionally, psychologically, psychologically and spiritually, the kind of soul ties and the kind of vibe that's been created with these older Caucasians coming and literally taking the life source of our young men, the very, at their prime. It's actually a serious problem, more than just the fact that it doesn't look right. And for so long, Africa was dealing with, and Asia as well, but primarily Africa was dealing with a lot of Caucasian males who would come and get very, very young girls, situations of pedophilia, etc., who they would have sex with and who they would use, it was places like Kenya and the Gambia were big sex tourism markets for men. But now women have joined the pack. And the reason people don't seem to raise as much of an eyebrow against the women is because you can't really see a woman, as getting prostitutional services or whatever. I don't know. A lot of the story, because it's a woman, gets kind of whitewashed and stuff. And the women say that they help the men, they help with the development of the communities because they'll build their mother a house or whatever. But what are you doing to those young men? And how are you stopping the destiny and the development of that young man? So now, and they're known to frequent these African resorts in search of sexcapades. I can't even say it. In search of sexcapades. And what happens is they book these holidays annually. Either they'll come alone, or now we're seeing more and more of these older women coming in packs of 3, 4, 5, etc. And they don't even want to use protection, which shows you what I said about the life force, right? Seriously? We can't take these things for granted. They don't even want to use protection, and they don't care about getting HIV. And so, of course, some of these international media have talked about how some, Caucasian lady came and got HIV because she didn't use protection. But they're not about that. They're just about living wild and fulfilling this dream, which is, so sick. It's so sick and it's so depressing. And what happens is that these young African men actually stage manage romantic affairs with these older women, where they will wine and dine them at the expense of the women. So the women will give them money and, sleep with them. And these women are so arrogant because there was an investigation that was done, like an investigative reporting kind of thing. And the women talked about how, no sex, no food. If he doesn't give me what I want sexually, he's not going to eat that day. I'm telling you, some of this stuff is so sickening. And, they try and because they're like, it's a business, like, agreement. Anyway, it's so heartbreaking. We'll be right back.
Wake up, Africa!
Welcome back to Africa Watch on the Dr. Mumbi Show. My name is Dr. Mumbi Saraki. White older women praying of the poverty of beautiful black African virile, young men, and using and abusing them, which is outrageous. And, this story actually came out, unfortunately, from Kenya, although it's happening in the Gambia and a lot of coastal nations. I'm told it's also a big thing in the Caribbean. And what they said, Reuters did this report a couple of years ago, and as I said, it keeps coming into the media and out. And it talked about, they did this survey where they interviewed some of these older women in the coastal regions to see what was the deal and what was up. And they found that these older women, first of all, they were not able to get any men to like them in their own home countries. A lot of them are extremely lonely. You know how they try and use excuses. A lot of them are extremely lonely, extremely isolated, and they can't have a bit of fun because of their reputation in their little villages in Europe, their little towns in Europe. So they kind of let their hair loose and come annually to kind of get their groove on, get their groove back. And it's at the expense of our people. And the thing is, it's totally sickening, especially when you think of the soul ties that our young men are creating. Because what will happen now with a lot of these young men is, on the one hand, they'll have these women that they're satisfying. So that's their job. That's what they do. That's how they earn their living. So they'll be with these women. But on the other hand, they'll also have young, beautiful African girlfriends who they have now convinced, I'm even got hiccups. They have now convinced that this is a normal way of life and this is what I'm doing to support our family. So you're going and sleeping with those nasty older women and then bringing all kinds of nastiness, all kinds of contamination here. And you know what? You know about the melanin? You know there's something about the melanin, and especially the sperm. It's life force, because what these guys are saying, and this is just, mature audience only, what these guys are saying is a lot of these women say they don't want to use condoms because they want that romance. They want that Casanova experience. And so they say the condom is too businesslike. So literally they are absorbing the life force, which is basically what a sperm is, of these young men. And they look younger, they look, they got a little bounce, and they're taking the energy and draining it, because whoever you mix with, you become like them and they become like you. So that's why you see, like, a lot of the coastal communities have very, very broken families, broken societies, where, because prostitution and everything has been so rampant, and young men and women have engaged in it so much, that, the family situations are a total mess, and it's a spiritual thing. And what they say is, a lot of these women have been confronted. The community said, it's hard to really criminalize it, but the community turns, frowns on this kind of behavior, but they can't really condemn it. And the way the women try and cover their tracks is they say that they are not paying for it, but are rather helping the young man's family. There's one woman who said, it's a social arrangement. I buy him a nice shirt and we go out for dinner for as long as he stays with me. He doesn't pay for anything, and I get what I want, which is a good time. If he doesn't perform, he doesn't get to eat. End of story. I mean, and you know what? There's no one to blame for this but our governments, because our governments and our leaders are the ones who have made our people this desperate. And there's actually this movie that was made in 2012 called Paradise, a Love, a candid look into the world of sex tourism, that really highlighted this, and how these women frequent these, Caribbean islands and the coast of Africa for these young men. And, the whole documentary tried to make it look like these women were broken, they were lonely, there was something lacking back home, and how back home they were sexually, physically, and emotionally deprived, and the women are so arrogant, which shows you it's a whole white supremacist situation. The women were so arrogant in saying that they were actually helping to improve the lives of these what they call African boys. And this is why, this is the level that our governments have made our youth reach. And the sexual predators are these, are they, a lot of them say they're sexual predators, but the Western media tries to whitewash them into these sad old ladies in search of orgasms and a bit of romance. That's what the Australian movie tried to say, but the documentary tried to say. But this is actually sickening. And what's even worse is our governments are doing nothing to stem it, to control, to stop it. Literally, nothing is happening. And it's really, really, really sad, because they're saying that the sex tourism in countries like the Gambia actually have started rivaling nations like Thailand, which are known sex destinations. But now it's the other way around. It's the white women coming here. So the white men are going to Asia and the white women are coming here. Why do you think they want our black men? And if there's any young men thinking that, why do you think they want you? What do you think you're giving up? What do you think you're giving away? It's something more valuable than gold, let me tell you. And I'm sorry our governments have made you this pathetic, that you have to actually sleep with white women for money. Anyway, may the Most High bless and keep you and give you a way out if you happen to be watching this show.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up.